Let's hope and pray that worked. Oh, no, I think it failed horribly. I don't see anything. It's going to be a catastrophe. They're going to hate it. Oh, it actually worked. No, we're live. Fantastic. Boom. And we're live. Look at all these people waiting for us here. We got Orlando. We got Jeff Crumpley. We got John Scott. John Scott. Okay. Oh, he wants the Mrs. D action. Oh, don't worry. She's here. We got Caveman. We got Anth Towers. Yeah, sorry, a little bit of a delay there. My friends, you may notice that we have someone new joining us, and whenever we bring anyone onto the podcast, it's always like 20 minutes of trying to figure out how we actually constructed the podcast because none of us remember anymore. So it's a good exercise for me to remember how we actually make things work. And we got, does anyone here know or remember Charlie Sorrell?
I do.
Well, besides you. And I'm actually impressed that you actually still remember things. You're quite advanced in years now, aren't you? No comment. Okay. Yeah, we got Charlie here. And next week we may have another special guest. Fantastic. All right, well, let's just go ahead. I've offended Charlie already. He's completely gone mute. We'll see if he comes back.
Yeah. I'm not speaking to you. I've had enough of you. Fun.
Okay. That might make this episode a little bit more difficult than we expected. So maybe just direct your answers to Griffin. If I ask you a question, you can just speak to him.
Yeah, we'll speak through him.
Okay. That sounds fine.
I never agreed to this.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to moderate for us.
Okay.
So I think we're ready to roll. I'm going to go ahead. Charlie, I'm so sorry. It's been so long since you've been on the show. You're in for a real treat. We start off every episode with a very warm welcome from a very special lady that we all care deeply about. She was in a movie from a long time ago, Mrs. Doubtfire. You probably never saw it. Nothing. Yeah. So we'll cue her up, and we'll get this thing rolling. Although, do I have all my?
I was never given an explanation. I was just thrown into the deep end. I was like, why does this happen before every show?
It just does. It just does.
It's kind of hard to explain. You know, I figure like it's been so long. Do we even need to explain things anymore? I feel like it ruins it if you explain it too much.
I didn't find out until over a year into doing the podcast that my podcast that I am on has its own Discord group that's talking about me.
Yeah, we talked. I was for a long time. We were talking about you almost every day, making suggestions. I can't believe how many people are here already. We haven't even started yet. All right, let's go ahead and queue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, it's got Charlie in the box now. I wasn't even planning for him to be there. Oh, Mrs. D, you may have noticed. Oh, where's my delicious little Lewis Wallace? Oh, he's gone, Mrs. D. He's out on vacation. Oh, that's too bad. I wanted to send him some pictures of me and El Caney in the boudoir. Oh, God. You know, he mentioned that he got some unusual texts from some phone number that he didn't recognize. I didn't realize those are from you. And now he's gone too. I can't help but think that might be a coincidence. I'll have to follow up with him on that. Oh boy. We got Griffin's eyebrows bouncing up and down. He might know something. I'll have to follow up with him after the show. Mrs. D, none of us want to hear about that. Well, Charlie might, actually. I know he's into such escapades, but for those of us with normal sensual appetites, we just want to hear the apple juice. So if you don't mind, I'm going to get this thing rolling. And we'll get this show on the road in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear. All week long, I'm your host, Jeff Lash. Join me today. Like a prisoner that escaped Alcatraz, he's one of the very few Cult of Mac writers that escaped and lived to tell the tale. Lewis Wallace is still fierce about it. I can't even bring it up. Former writer for Cult of Mac, Charlie Sorrell is here. Nothing? Okay. Also with us.
No, you want to... Hey, hi.
You realize it's an audio podcast. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. This is why I had to leave.
That's fine. Also with us, you're just warming up. He spends almost as much time primping his hair as he does writing articles each morning. Writer for Cult of Mac, Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. I noticed you got a haircut recently, Erfan.
Did I?
Did you?
I
thought
actually
you
don't.
did.
I actually don't think that I did. I just, the weather over here in Seattle is transitioning, and
I think
my
that's
hair
his Halloween wig.
yeah, and yeah. Well, it's part Halloween, and my hair transitions with it. I mean, it's transitioning from being up here to transitioning to being on the ground. There's that, but and then also just like with the weather, like whatever the weather does, my hair just changes with the seasons. In spring, it's out here. In the wintertime, it's down here. In the summertime, it's a little bit flatter. But I appreciate that
Well,
you
here in
notice.
Ohio, it's about time for the harvest. All
Yeah.
my farmer neighbors are, harvesting their fields of corn,
Really?
stuff like that. Yeah. So now when I go outside, it smells like what do you call it? Gross, like mulch or manure.
Okay.
It's really lovely.
Don't you ever get used to that, though, and find it to be kind of soothing? It's like, it's like harvest season.
Now it smells
Take a
like
big old
something's
whiff of
died
those
in my
cow turds.
backyard.
No. I mean, hey, look, it could be worse. You could live in Cleveland. I joke. I've never been to Cleveland. I hear it's lovely. I've never been there.
I've been to Cleveland and I have yet to discover that fact.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe what I've heard about it is true. We got to start off with the massive, huge super chat from Hugo Last. How much did Charlie donate? Well, that's a great question, Hugo. I haven't seen any super chats come in from Charlie, but Charlie, if you want to talk, we're going to need you to go ahead and plop down a super chat in the chat, and then we'll send it to you.
What's this for?
The super chat. Yeah, the super chat.
Some people actually like the show, and so they give us money for some reason.
Yeah, that the super chats are people who are watching the live stream. They basically just give us money, and it usually is only just one person. The great and generous and mighty Hugo Last, who
Thank you, Hugo Last.
oh yeah, every episode. I mean,
And
I
it
don't know
also
what this-
doesn't go to us; it goes to Leander
it goes
because he runs
to
the channel.
Leonard Kinney. That's right. Well, that's not true.
Fantastic.
YouTube takes a cut of it, but then the rest
okay.
goes to Leander. So, in his generosity, Hugo's trying to support us, and he's literally just giving Leander money, which, yeah, in some ways will balance out. But I'm sure Leander is extremely appreciative of the money that he probably doesn't even know where the money comes from. It just goes into his pocket, and he just doesn't even know why it's there, and he doesn't question it.
He just spends it all on tea. That's where his tea money comes from.
Yeah, well, he does spend a fortune on tea. He's not drinking the cheap stuff, I don't think.
Governor.
Actually, that is probably exactly what he drinks. So, for those of you who don't remember, that's why his teeth are like all brown and rotting and falling out. I think it's the quality of the tea, the pesticides in there. But we'll have to save that for a CultCast off topic. So, for those of you that don't know, Charlie and I go way, 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 way back. Charlie was a writer at Cultamac years and years and years ago. You preceded me, I think, Charlie. I don't know when you
Did I
started
really?
there. You might have, yeah.
I've been there forever, and then I wasn't. Then I was again,
Yep.
and then I wasn't again. That's
Yeah.
kind of in and out.
I heard that you went on to do other writing escapades. And of course, we have to mention that you have your own Apple podcast that you do with another former Cultamac writer. I'm noticing a
That's
trend
right,
here.
with
I might be
Graham.
looking at my future. Graham Bauer.
Yeah.
And what's that podcast called again?
That podcast is called Apple Core,
Apple Core.
and
I get it.
Apple Core,
I get it.
and it's
Okay.
we look at history, Apple history, and
Oh,
then
nice.
we look deeply into it, and then we take it apart, and then we see how it reflects on what's going on at Apple today, and it's quite good fun. And Griffin is actually quite often guest.
Oh, you've been a
host
guest
on
more
there
than once.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We,
Oh,
we,
wow.
we have two
It just keeps
episodes in
coming
the can
back.
with me in it.
hmm
Outstanding.
It just keeps showing up, and we can't. I mean, he's got such a cute face, we can't kick him out.
I mean, I think he's probably like a 6 out of 10, but it's fine if you think that. I mean, look at that hair. I mean,
It's
Craig
the hair that does it. I
Federighi
mean, look at it.
Jr. takes him to at least an 8.5. If like you cover the hair,
Fed-
it's like 6, but then like you take your hands away, it's like whoa 8.
And it's like
Yeah, but
Apple
if you
Core
just
isn't
look
even
at
a
it-
video podcast, but it just
No.
just transcends everything,
So
I
it doesn't
guess.
even- yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it kind of filters across.
My
beauty,
apologies
the-
to all of our listeners and viewers who are like, what is going on in this podcast? Someday I'd like to come on, but I know that you guys broadcast at times that I sometimes can't make, but we should talk.
Yeah,
about
we're
that.
going to
Now,
force you to stay up super late at night.
I mean, I'm usually up pretty late anyway. Now I will admit that I haven't been invited, but I figured this is an open invitation. So
I invited myself on. That didn't stop
did
me.
you? Okay, I just assumed
Yeah.
that since we go way back.
Just invite yourself. That's how it works.
And Charlie
Anyone
and
can show
I
up.
went to CES together. That might have been one of the last
did.
CESs that I went to. In fact, that may have been the last one that I went to because
Maybe I might have done one more after that. Maybe that was the last one.
Okay.
That was the last good CES, I think.
That might have
After
been.
that, it went downhill.
Was that the one?
the last
God, we're so
football
far
CES.
off base. Was that the one when they stopped doing things in the Venetian and moved it to like some hotel way down at the end of the strip? I forget which one it even was.
Yeah.
Because that's really
I think
when
it was.
That's really when it fell apart for me. I was like, this is like you used to be able to spend your time in like this beautiful hotel, and it was like so fun to be there, and there was so much to do, and then they moved it away from that hotel to like a glorified Motel 6, but it was Vegas style, and we went there, and I was like, dude, the magic is gone. This I don't want to come back if this is the experience anymore, and that was pretty much it for
Yep.
me.
I mean, we had a view of a pretty nice, fairly empty car park.
Yeah, it was empty, and that was also the year I think that we went to that. I don't know if you were there for that, but we went to that Samsung event. With it wasn't James Cameron. It was who's the dude that does Transformers?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. I always get those two confused. It was
It's the
Michael
same
Bay.
guy.
It might be the same guy. I've never seen them up close. And I don't know. There was like a teleprompter error or something, and we were all sitting there, and the room got extremely awkward because he like didn't know what to say. He was on stage during this presentation, and he just straight up panicked, and this look of fear came over him, and then he fled. I forget what he said. It was like, I can't do this, and he literally fled the stage, and we were all mortified that this is happening, and it's like a live streamed event, and then they didn't know what to do. And so all of a sudden, like the spotlight just goes back to like one of the CEOs or executives, and he's standing there frozen in fear. He doesn't know what to say. So they tried to carry on as Michael Bay peeled out in the parking lot and make this and recover this presentation from what had just happened. And they didn't. It was like completely awkward, painfully awkward for the entire rest of the show. But were you there for that?
I was there. I wasn't in that.
But you were there for that CES.
Yeah, I was in Vegas. I was around, but yeah, I wasn't in the Samsung event.
Okay.
But I remember you coming out and telling us all about it.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite stories to tell from CES. Anyway, we're way out. We're way out. We got all sorts of Apple stuff to talk about. Before we dive in, oh my goodness, I didn't even load this up. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I want to give a huge thank you to Notion for supporting this episode. Notion, you're like, what is Notion? I don't even know what Notion is. Well, I'm going to tell you. That's what I'm here to do. Notion allows you to combine your notes, docs, and projects into one space that's simple and beautifully designed. And with the new Notion AI, it has capabilities of multiple AI tools built in, which means you can search, generate, analyze, and chat all inside Notion. The new Notion AI is a single AI tool that does it all. Search across Notion and other apps, generate docs in your own style, analyze PDFs and images, and chat with you. It can chat with you about anything. And I use Notion. In fact, the other day I was doing a search. I wanted to create a product roadmap. You know, like it's a timeline of features that you want to introduce into a product. And I wasn't quite sure how to build like a really great roadmap. And so I was just doing some research on my own to find tools that you can use to do product roadmaps. One of the top tools that came up, Notion. I hadn't even considered to use it because, well, I didn't consider it to be a tool that could do product roadmaps. It can. It does so much stuff. There's so much stuff. It is truly a Swiss Army knife of stuff. It is your document repository and more. If you build your wikis inside of Notion, you can query those wikis. So if you ever have a question on like what you're supposed to be doing or how things are going to work, you can just ask Notion AI and it will query your own wiki and give you back the answers that you saved, which saves you a ton of time and helps you get back to work faster. It just does so much stuff, which is why there are so many people who are transitioning to using Notion for like managing their projects. You hear a lot of YouTubers using it for managing product or video schedules and creating videos and collaborating with their teams. Just a really great tool. You can try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/cultcast. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/cultcast, to try the powerful, easy to use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show, which we appreciate. Notion.com/cultcast. Let's get into the first story of the day. Who's doing it? Charlie. We had some big drops this week, and we know now what's coming down the pipe for M4 Max and looks like iPad minis and stuff. I'm going to just give the story to you because I'm sitting here trying to do it myself. Take it away.
Okay. It's that, well, everything is going to be going to M4 this year.
That's right.
And it looks like, according to Mark Gurman, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, we're going to be getting new M4 powered Macs on November the 1st, which will be the low-end 14-inch MacBook Pro and all of the MacBook Pros, including, the big ones, the small ones, the not so good ones,
the medium ones,
and but that's pretty much expected. I think the most interesting thing out of all of this is the Mac Mini, because everything else is just going to be a spec bump.
Say that.
Yeah, it is, right?
I know that you think that. I don't think that's the most interesting thing about this, but I'm not gonna get in your way.
That's because you always want to buy the biggest, most powerful Mac because apparently you can't.
It pleases me greatly that you know that about me, because it's been a long time since we've talked, and I do have this bizarre compulsion to always get the absolute best that Apple has to offer, even though I don't even need it. If they made a 17-pound, 19-inch MacBook Pro with two M4 Ultras in it and it costs $18,000, there would be a small part of me that would want to purchase that machine, even though there's absolutely no way I would ever take advantage of any of the features that it offered.
Do you have trouble with your current Mac? Is it too slow for you?
That's not a reason. That's not a reason to not upgrade, Charlie. That's never a reason to not upgrade.
Okay, so
no, my current Mac does way more than I need, and is sufficient across all the activities that I throw at it. In fact, I use iStat menus, so you can track like memory pressure, and you can track CPU utilization. You can chart it over time, so you can literally go look to see if your computer is not meeting your needs. And no, the M1 Max MacBook Pro is probably, that thing was so powerful when they released it, it will probably be good for another 3 or 4 years. Now, that all being said, that's no reason not to upgrade. Because guess what? The M4 is looking to be one of the biggest upgrade cycles that we've seen since the M1. And that alone is going to be enough, I think, to make the move. You got to make the move.
I think the M1 was obviously massive because we came out of Intel, and it was just a huge upgrade in everything. Performance, the battery life went way up. The things, you didn't even need a fan in the low end ones. And I've got an M1 MacBook Pro. The fan never goes on that. I've had it for years. I've had it since it came out, so several years now. And these M4s also look pretty neat.
Now, what makes the Mac Mini specifically more exciting than the MacBook Pro is that it's skipping 2 generations, not just one. It's currently stuck on the M2, so you're getting an even bigger leap, and the first brand new design, and it's just the Mac. It's an inherently more interesting computer because it's the Mac Mini, and it's the best computer in the world.
Look,
the Mac Mini is a very cool computer.
You're succumbing to Apple's parlor trick here, Griffin. The fact that it hasn't been upgraded in like 15 years, now they're going to toss it an M4. It's like that's exactly what they're trying to do to get you excited. Like, we didn't upgrade this computer in 7 years, and now we're putting in the M4, and everyone's like, wow.
Oh, yeah. But, well, all they're doing to the MacBook is just bumping the number and putting the new chip in, and everybody's losing their mind about that.
We don't know for
sure. This is a brand new computer.
Well, look. I'm not saying that the Mac Mini is not exciting, because I actually do think it is. And I think for most people, if you already have a computer screen, then I think the Mac Mini is probably going to be perfect for a lot of people. But if you're looking for absolute horsepower, which I know Charlie's into both horses and power.
Both together.
And only together? Okay, I heard also separately. So the M4 MacBook Pro is going to be like the single core performance boost. I don't know, is this multi-core that we're looking at, or is this single core? the single core performance boost that I saw, and I don't know if this 25% boost that we have here in the article, if this is representative of, multi-core, which I think is exciting, but maybe not as exciting as single core, because single core is a true representation of how much better the chip has gotten. When they just throw more cores in, you can't necessarily take advantage of all the cores all at the same time anyway, so like you may never see like those performance gains, but like the single core performance, you will definitely notice. And I think I saw it was like 17% by Max Tech, which is a substantial increase in horsepower, especially coming from M1. I think M2 was like maybe like 14% faster. I don't remember the number. I'm just making things up. M3 was like another 14 or 15% faster, and now we're getting to like 17 to 20% faster single core speeds. Like we're getting to a point where the M4 may be like 50 or 60% faster than the M1 Max MacBook Pro, which I think that's pretty tempting. Even if that's the only upgrade that you get, I think that could be enough to lure me away. Plus, I think that it's going to continue running cool. Like the M1 Max, like the M2 was kind of hot. The M3 was a little bit better, but the M4 might actually be like the M1. Like, to your comments, Charlie, I don't know if I've ever heard my fans come on my M1 Max MacBook Pro. I can't actually remember a time when they came on, even doing heavy lifting and video work, like they just never come on.
The M2 and the M3 remind me a little bit of the early days of the iPad. You remember that when they the first Retina iPad came out, and it was the battery it had a huge battery in it to make up for all the extra power that the screen needed, and it would take a long time to charge, and it would actually get kind of warm, which was something the iPad had never done. And then soon the next one came out. I can't remember which one.
They replaced the iPad 3 after like 8 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. It was a kind of a weird. I had that one, and it was a kind of a weird dog, but that Retina screen was amazing.
Yeah, so, it was. I know they also had the first iPhone just cranked to the max as far as like what they were doing with the chips that they put in there. I mean, that thing ran like as hot as they could possibly make it just to make that phone actually work. So I don't know if we want to talk about this now, but there was a big leak this week. I mean, one of the biggest that I think I've ever seen, and I believe that this was real. And we have it in this story, but I kind of feel like to tee it up, maybe you should talk about the box that was leaked first, because I feel like that ties into this story, Charlie, about this Russian YouTuber who got his hands on the actual MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I've been following this. It seems very weird that. Okay, so what it is the M4 MacBook Pro is out and about, and somebody got their hands on it, and then apparently, now it's shown up on eBay for sale or something like this. What was the story about the box? Oh yeah, there was an unboxing video showing the thing. So it's actually its retail packaging.
The actual box itself leaked on Twitter like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There were pictures from this Twitter user, Shrimp Apple Pro, who had shown some pictures of like the actual box and the specs of the MacBook Pro. And then flash forward to this week, there was a Russian YouTuber. First of all, I went to this guy's channel. He has like 12 million subscribers. It is mind-blowing to me how many huge channels exist on YouTube that you've never heard of. And this guy is Russian. He speaks in Russian. His audience is all commenting in Russian, right? Russian channel, massive channel. Never heard of it. And the guy has a MacBook Pro, and people were saying he has the new one, the M4 MacBook Pro. And that's bonkers if you think about it. So he somehow got his hands on it, and people were questioning whether or not this video was legit. But
like the other interesting part of that is that Apple doesn't officially do business in Russia. They completely pulled out after they started the war in Ukraine.
So someone in China.
How did they get there? It's weird.
If you're going to sell something dodgy, though, why not sell it to a Russian?
Right. What are they going to do?
Sorry, any Russians listening.
So the specs that this guy has in this machine match the pictures of the box that we saw. So I think that the box and this guy's MacBook Pro are related. I think that this is actually the MacBook Pro. And this is the one that we're going to see, which, by the way, it comes in space black. It has 3 Thunderbolt ports now instead of 2 for the lower-end models. There were some other minor improvements that I saw that may or may not be worth mentioning. I don't know.
It says that the M4 will have an increase of 2 cores to the CPU, same number as the GPU, and even the base model, which didn't previously come in space black, but the base model will also be bumped up from 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes of memory.
That was the other big thing, right? So like the base being that it has higher memory. So this is pretty much.
I think that's a symptom. I think that's going to be standard across the line, though, across the Mac lineup, and because Apple's having to apparently bump up the memory to cope with Apple Intelligence. So everything's getting more RAM, and about time too, because it's been absolutely years since they went from. I think the base was 4 gigabytes for help until
forever.
Well, ridiculously recently. Is anyone in the chat can look that up and tell us?
I think it was. I think the last computer that still shipped with it was that non-Retina MacBook Pro that they shipped until like 2016 or something like that, and that still had 4 in it. But most of the computers switched to 8 around 10 years ago, I think.
And it's been the same ever since.
Mm-hmm. And you hear people say that it's enough. It probably is for a very small group of people. My wife, I thought, was one of the people in that group, and I bought her the 8 gig MacBook Air, and she constantly gets error messages that she doesn't have enough memory. And all she does is use it for teaching, and she browses the web. She uses Google Docs. She is the person that you would think that computer would have enough memory for, and she continually gets messages that she's out of memory. So I hope that this is something they do across the board. I mean, for the price of these computers, I feel like, and this is just gravy for TC. There's no way that an extra 8 gigs of memory is going to add any kind of substantial cost to the price of.
Yeah, but that's not why they do it. Well, it's partly why they do it, but partly it's because that sweet upgrade money, That's
what I mean. It's a tactic to drive you to a higher price machine. That's why they do it. And I would even argue that 128 gigs for the iPhone is kind of becoming the new 8 gigabytes of memory. 128 gigs for storage is like, you run out of that so fast, and the phone's taking 4K video. It's like, it doesn't take very long, especially because most people are not savvy enough to know. Well, most people will try to transfer their old iPhone to their new iPhone, which is actually a terrible idea, because it brings all the cruft with you, and all your photos that are stored on that phone come along for the ride. That's really, you should just start fresh and download everything again so that all your photos stay in iCloud, because otherwise you're going to run out of space. You're just going to be perpetually out of space, which maybe, just maybe, is exactly where TC wants you to be, because now you're primed. It's like, you're like, oh man, I just got a new phone. I'm already out of space. Next time I should get like the 256 version. It's like this self-perpetuating problem. And then eventually you end up with a 2 terabyte iPhone, and then that's full. And now you're paying for the 6 terabytes of iCloud storage, which is only like, what, $40 a month?
Yeah, I pay for it.
Seems reasonable, doesn't it?
It worked on me.
Oh,
you pay
man,
for 6?
I'm resisting. What's that?
I think you pay for 6, Griffin.
I pay for, I think, 2, which is what you get with the Apple One $40 plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. That's what I have. But I paid for it before Apple One existed. I paid for the terabyte, but then Apple One came along and it was more. It was cheap. It wasn't very much, and you can share it, and it means, you can use it for so much stuff.
What are the Apple One services do you use? Because I genuinely play the Apple News crosswords like every day.
I do the Guardian crossword. I use the Fitness Plus, which I like most days. I do yoga from Fitness Plus. I use the music. I don't use Apple TV much because the app is so bad, and because when you watch it on the iPad, it's darker than watching it in any other video service. So I have my own ways of getting video. And what else is there? And then all the storage, I guess. That's about it.
Yeah.
And backup. I use iCloud Drive and iCloud Backup, which is fantastic.
I know, we all do. What a racket, man. They're making so much money on that. And once you're in there, there's no way out. There is no...
If you're in the family plan, it's even worse, because, if you want to jump yourself, you can kind of deal with it, and it's a bit of a hassle, but no big deal. But then you've got to tell everybody in your family, you've got to move all your photos. You've got to, you've got to stop. You've got to take your playlists over to Spotify or Tidal or something. And they're like, no way. So you're stuck.
You're stuck. Yeah. And if you run out of space, all sorts of stuff on your machine will stop working. Like, you won't be able to send text messages. There's just a lot of stuff that's tied into how much space you have available. I've been trying to figure out a way around this. As somebody who takes a lot of video and photos, I am trying to figure out how I can store my photos. I keep in the Photos app. Videos, though, I've been trying to skirt the Photos app because they automatically get piped into iCloud, which takes up all your storage way faster. And I'm like, how do you? What is out there that allows you to store all your videos, makes them as accessible as Photos does, makes them easy to stream on your Apple TV? I mean, there's just nothing, man. There's nothing. I mean, Apple has it so locked in. Their service is so good. There's nowhere to go.
Let me tell you, F1. Level Remix has said in the YouTube chat, let's go NAS. And it's a good idea that if you try...
I have a NAS.
You have a Synology?
Yeah, I have a Synology. And it's still not as good.
You can put everything on Synology.
Here's the problem with Synology.
All there.
It
you
is
have to download anything, it's already there.
That's true. The problem, though, is when you go to access it. And the Synology is so underpowered when it comes to streaming 4K content. And if you're taking 4K videos, you store them on your NAS. Yeah, they're there. But if you want to watch them, you can't, because the genius thing that Apple does is it transcodes all of your videos, and it will give you the one that your bandwidth can handle. The Synology doesn't do that. If they would add that, it would be much better. But not only that is...
Can't you put Plex on the Synology, then?
Oh, Plex is even worse. Yeah, I do have Plex. I've tried Plex. I've tried the Synology Photos app. There's another app that has actually worked pretty well called Infuse. That I think.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I use that every day.
Okay, so that one works.
That's what I used to watch everything.
That's one of the best ones that I have found for actually encoding your videos on the hardware in which you're watching it. Plex, oh my goodness, I'm a Plex Premium member. What a dog! And like all of their photo video functionality that they used to promote has taken a huge backseat. Like they are really focusing on basically becoming like the next like Tubi or Amazon Freevee. Like they're trying to become a video streaming site, which I'm like, dude, I paid you for a license to manage my content, and now you've like abandoned all those features, and you're focused on ad-supported streaming content, which I can get from any of these other services that exist. Why did I pay you? So there's like no good way to do this, and I have been on a search. Like I'm not even kidding. For 18 months, I have been on this search to like figure out a way to manage content outside of the Photos app and have it be accessible from all my devices, and to be able to stream 4K content to my Apple TV because I want to watch it on my TV. Not even the Apple TV 4K streams your personal content in 4K. You're going to just make me get on a tangent. I'm already on one. I won't go down that road.
I think we're going off topic. When we're talking about the leaked M4 MacBook
Welcome back, Charlie.
So I just got one more thing to say about this MacBook Pro, about whether this leaked one that showed up in Russia. I think it could be legit for the reason that it's fully boxed, which makes me think it's fallen off the back of a FedEx truck or something, a UPS truck. But you remember Apple has started surface shipping lots of things. That's one of their things that they're doing to take down their carbon footprint instead of flying everything across from China in a plane. So I think maybe having this, they've been bringing stuff across on a ship, and with the Macs you can kind of do it because these are going to look exactly the same as the previous Macs, apart from they're going to have M4 written on them. So the box is not like a new shaped iPhone that's going to be it's almost impossible to ship without and stockpile without somebody seeing it. So maybe this one just kind of went missing. Maybe.
I did hear a theory that like maybe there's like some like sort of there probably is like some sort of underground pipeline for people in Russia to be able to like buy black market MacBooks and all that, and they just accidentally got an unreleased like a truckload of unreleased MacBooks, not even because the box is the same and they didn't even realize, and then it fell into the hands and became this whole story of like, the YouTubers getting them and selling them on eBay.
I don't know what happened, but this is certainly one of the biggest leaks that we've seen. And now the benchmark scores are coming out, of course, and we know that it is going to come in space black.
A few weeks, right? All right.
What's that?
Nothing. I thought you were going to say something else, and I was just trying to finish a sentence. So carry on.
Well, you were wrong, but I appreciate you trying.
Yeah, I was.
And and now we know about the 3 Thunderbolt ports, which on the base model wouldn't have been possible before. And I'm on the fence on Space Black. I have to be honest. Every time I see the new Space Black, I feel like it's not a great color. So I might go back to silver for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. I really love the Space Gray. The Space Gray that the M1 Max came in. I also wasn't a huge fan, and then I saw it in person, and I was like, wow, this is actually very beautiful and understated. But Space Black, I feel like is a little too dark, and I'm bummed that Apple actually got rid of Space Gray to switch to Space Black. So we'll see which one I go for. It sounds to me like I'm the only one really interested in partaking of this new machine. That's the way it sounds. I don't want to put any words in your mouth, Charlie. But
no, I'm sticking with the one I've got. It's still more than enough for me. I mean, it still feels new. And you've got to remember, my last Mac was an iMac that lasted me for 11 or 12 years. So, so before I finally got rid of it. And yes, I'm happy. And I'm also using a 2012 MacBook Air with Linux running on it. And that's
there we go. That's the Charlie I know.
Yeah,
I'm
there
surprised
you go.
don't have it running
here, baby.
on an iPad.
I tried.
Yeah, okay.
It's not possible.
For years, Charlie tried to convince us that working on an iPad for productivity was a normal way of living your life, and it sounds like you finally came around. Sounds like you.
I was wrong. Yeah,
you did. To your credit, you did make it work. You did make it work. It just,
yeah, I mean, it worked. It worked, and it's a lot better now than it was when I was doing it. Then it was a real pain. Now it's a lot easier, but yeah, it's just not there. It's so much easier to do a lot of if you're working with a lot of different things at once. It's just a lot easier to do it on a Mac.
Yeah, and that was kind of always my position for me. That's why I never wanted to do it. I'm like, yes, you can make it work, but it's so much work. It's like there's so many compromises you have to make, and especially for the type of work I was doing at that time, like you needed to have access to multiple windows all on the same screen and be able to move them around. And so for me, like I could never make it work for my use cases. And now here I am with the M1 Max. It's totally everything that I probably need. Griffin's editing this show now. I'm not even doing YouTube right now. I keep thinking I'm coming back, baby. I'm on my way. And I want to boot my channel. And for that, I would actually need to start editing videos again. But to be honest, I think my M1 Max is probably everything that I probably need, even for doing 4K editing.
How much RAM have you got in there?
32 gigabytes.
And storage?
2 terabytes. It's a great machine.
I think that's going to be fine.
I know. I mean, yes. If we're looking at what I actually need, I think that's probably true. But I would love Wi-Fi 7. That would be nice. I will.
Why not get
the faster export speeds.
some space black spray paint and just do it yourself?
Yeah. Okay. I hadn't considered that as a viable solution, but that would be a lot cheaper, wouldn't it? And it would probably help the resale value, don't you think?
I think I would. I mean, I would buy it.
Yeah. Well, look. Yeah. Maybe we could work something out. for $200, I'll paint it space black for you. We can even do the one with the glitter undercoat, so it's nice and sparkly for you.
Oh yeah, I'm into that.
All right.
Deal.
All right. Look, before we move on, get a wife. Don't even. Gurren Blanson's talking about dongles here in the chat. Can we get the moderator in here? I don't ever want to hear the word dongle mentioned. We gotta get that word banned. We can't talk about dongles. We can't talk about dongles. Before we move on, something that is not a dongle and won't immediately infuriate you is the CultCloth. Are you familiar with CultCloth, Charlie? I should send you some. Although you're in Europe, oh man, the shipping's going to be a killer. Shipping to Europe is outrageous.
Mm-hmm. The CultCloth. This is like Apple's cleaning cloth, but nano cleaning cloth, but Cult. Is that right?
The Cult version. Yeah, I have heard some people say that they use these on their very expensive coatings on their Apple on their studio displays. Now I would never endorse that because I've never tried that, and those crystals that are adhered to that screen are like $1,000 upgrades. I've heard some people say it works. I've never tried it. Try it at your own risk. I will say though that we just upgraded our carry cloth to version 2.0. Dude, it is so much better. It is so, and the last one was great. This one's even better. I'm getting ahead of myself though. If you need a way to keep your gadgets, your glasses, Charlie, look at your glasses. I can barely even see your eyes. Oh, that's better. Maybe it was just the light. Are they
It
all
was a lie.
smoked?
I keep my glasses. I'm fanatical about keeping my
Okay, I am
glasses
too.
clean. Maybe I do need one of these beautiful
Dude,
cloths.
I will send you some free of charge. All you have to pay is shipping us, which is $75. Because you live in Barcelona, it's gonna be extra. And maybe I'll have it delivered by your nude mailman. That might cost a little bit extra, though. I'll look into that. CultCloth
No,
is
he does it for free. He does it for free now. We've come to an understanding.
If you don't want him to, he just shows up there with.
Especially if I don't want to.
Yeah, he's like, I got a package for you, my friend. So CultCloth is the absolute best way to keep the gadgets in your life, your glasses, your cameras, your television, your MacBook Pro, your iPad, absolutely sparkling clean like the day that you bought them. They are continually surprising at how well they work. They just work so well. They are the best. They are the best. There is nothing better out there. Our CultCloth Duo has a dual fiber design, and the front side has a short fiber. Actually, you could consider it to be the back side if you want. I guess there's not really a front or a back. There's just two sides. There's a short fiber design that's really great for keeping your screen cleaned, especially if you want to use a little bit of screen cleaner. Like the fibers won't soak up too much of the screen cleaner, which is what you want when you're cleaning a screen. And then there's a long fiber design, which is just like an absolute destroyer of grease and grime on your keyboard. Bigger surfaces, the back of the top of your MacBook Pro, your television screen. I mean, absolutely anything. It just reaches down into all the cracks and crevices. I always joke it keeps the cracks in your life sparkling clean. That is actually true. So I got this new iPhone case, and you can see it kind of has like a rim around it, and no normal microfiber cloth can clean in the depths of that crack. There's just absolutely no way. But CultCloth can. All the little fibers reach down in there and pull everything out. And the cracks, my friends, are sparkling clean. How about yours? How about your cracks? That's what I want to know. And if you want to partake, if I've convinced you, or if you're just like, you know what, I don't even care about the CultCloth, I just want to support the show, which when you buy CultCloth, you're doing both. Head on over to CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. Like I said, you'll get our new CarryCloth 2.0, which develops like this cleaning patina as you use it, which makes it even more effective on the go. And it will also have the power to reach down into your cracks and pull out all the grime. CultCloth.co, and use code CultCast at checkout with any order $20 plus. You'll get an extra CarryCloth, which will be the new version, with your order. Just use code CultCast at checkout. CultCloth.co. We've sold thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of these. So you're going to be in good company. And you know what? I think I've only ever received like 2 returns. Ever. I mean, people just don't.
Were they filthy? Were they really? Were they stained?
No, they were actually pretty much brand new. I think one of them, the person had moved or something, and so like the pack just came back to us. And then one of them, I think we had run low on stock. This happens all the time, way too often. And the guy just got his order really late. He's like, I got something else. I just don't need these anymore. So he returned them. So, but I don't think I've ever received a return from anyone that has been disappointed with the quality. So, because they're just that good. I mean, like I say, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm broken record. There's nothing else that's better. There is nothing else that's better. I have never found anything that works better, which is why people don't return them, because they're just that good. Absolutely. Cleaning potatoes all day. You can clean your apples. You can clean your other fruits and vegetables. Now, I wouldn't use them on your delicate electronics after that, but I've had people clean their cars. They work great on dashboards. If you're in the mood, you could fashion them into like a loincloth of some kind and wear that in the summertime. Maybe that's a suggestion we can make to your nude friends, Charlie. Your close and personal nude friends that traversed Barcelona with no clothes on. Maybe we should tell that story, but I feel like we don't have time.
No.
Yeah, let's just move on and forget that it ever happened. Griffin, should we send it over to you to talk about iPhone SE?
Yes.
Does anyone care? Probably not, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
Well, there's one interesting part of this story. Okay. The iPhone SE4's in-house Apple 5G modem could deliver major power savings.
Huh.
The iPhone SE4 will have a new design that'll ditch the home button, and it'll sort of mimic the iPhone 14 in that regard. It'll use a lot of that design, but it will stand out for being the first product in Apple's portfolio to use its in-house 5G modem. A report from MacRumors says that it'll have the iPhone 16's A18 chip and support 8 gigabytes of RAM for Apple Intelligence. It'll have a 48 megapixel rear camera, and a 12 megapixel front shooter. So it'll be getting a big camera upgrade, first one in a while. But it'll have Apple's new modem. The company spent billions of dollars developing its own 5G modem following the acquisition of Intel's 5G business in 2019. Apple's baseband will handle cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS connectivity all in one on the iPhone SE4. The source claims the new modem will reduce power consumption, boosting battery life, and depending on its performance in real-world use, Apple might expand it to the other devices in the coming years. So this has been sort of like off and on for a few years. There were rumors that they had to renew their relationship with Qualcomm for an extra few years because their modem team was just lagging behind. But it was sort of like a will they won't they thing, and it seems like it might actually come true. The iPhone SE4 will have a spring 2025 release. Given the major upgrades for the model, it might support a higher price tag than the current $429 price.
Okay. I know that for many in this audience that this phone doesn't appeal to their sense of taste, but it's good to know that for those of you who are price conscious, like this is an option. Sorry, Charlie, I cut you off.
I was just going to say that I agree with Griffin that this is an interesting, that the modem is the most interesting part of this, because Apple has been trying to make their modem for years and years and years, like you said. And the fact that it might be going into other devices, do you think that maybe once Apple finally, gets this thing rolling properly, and then they're going to start building their modem into the chips, into the system on a chip, which is going to mean it uses a lot less power, and that they will finally start putting in Macs? This is my prediction.
That's pretty cool.
Or my wish.
That's pretty cool. I mean, if they can make it if they can get it to draw, how do I phrase this? If they can fix
less
it so
power?
it doesn't draw a lot of power. Thank you for saying what I could not say. Then I think that would be a real possibility. I think there'd be a lot of people who would be interested in having a cell modem in their MacBook Pro or whatever Mac they get. Mm-hmm. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
That would be.
It's so good in an
feature.
iPad. I mean, it's one of the things that makes me take an iPad on a trip instead of a Mac, because you can pull it out and whip it out and start playing with it.
Oh boy! Look, I don't know why they haven't done it yet. Isn't it kind of perplexing as to why we don't have this in a Mac at this point? It seems like
because especially since the Apple Silicon transition, it is basically just an iPad. Like, it is architecturally identical to an iPad. But now I think they will have literally no excuse once they start making their own chips. What stuck out to me is that people have only been talking about this in the context of the cellular connectivity, but I didn't know that they want to include cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS all in the same chip. I don't know if that's a new detail or what, but
yeah, I haven't heard that
could be
before.
A huge consolidation.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it makes sense. Maybe this is why it's taken them so long to do it. Are those things on
or maybe
separate
I'm just
chips
misunderstanding how the article is written, or maybe our writer. Yeah. maybe something is lost in translation there, but that would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not our writer. Definitely not our writer. All right.
No, certainly not.
What do we got next? Oh, should we talk about Apple Intelligence, Griffin? The marquee feature of the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro and Pro Max. I just can't get enough of it. Boy, what a great addition to the phone. So happy I upgraded to the iPhone 16,
Us both Americans know that Apple Intelligence is wonderful.
Well, I've never touched it.
Charlie, have you tried it?
I've actually never touched it. So I should renounce my citizenship and also move to Europe. And I was just making that comment a little sarcastically because they announced these features alongside the iPhone, and it seems like we're going to get a small handful of them this year, and the rest are going to launch seemingly for the iPhone 17. So we got duped big time, but we do have some coming down the pipe.
Well, the important thing to know is that even people who are buying their iPhone 15 or 15 Pro, or people who are buying the iPhone 16 are going to keep those phones several years. It's only a very small minority of people who are, it's a very small minority of people who actually buy a new phone every single year. So
yeah.
And also, we jest about how Europe isn't getting these features, but you're not missing that much. I'll be honest.
I mean, you're missing
no,
nothing.
I view it as a bonus. No, I think it's better. I'd rather not. I don't want them, and the fact that I won't have to worry about switching them off. They just won't be there. I'm very happy about that.
I'm sure they'll be collecting your data in the undercurrent of your phone activity anyway. You just won't see it happening. Be going directly to the
probably.
government. Yeah. So I'm joking. That's clearly not true, but go ahead, Griffin.
Onto the story. These features are in the iOS 18.1 beta, and I had a piece on Cult of Mac over the weekend that was pretty big, where I just I've tried out all of the new features, and the video is this is a really good video to watch because you can see all of them in action here. But I'm going to summarize the top ones here. So like they have the writing tools, these like proofread or change the tone of or like reformat your text, and these are available like anywhere that any app that has like the standard text field, that brings up a keyboard pretty much. So like all of Apple's apps and a lot of third-party apps, some of them might have their own weird text input method where it doesn't work in, but pretty much everywhere where you can write, you can use the writing tools. The proofreading, rewriting, and summary stuff, it's decent. I don't know if I'll use it too often because I'm already a professional writer, but what does really impress me is its ability to restructure like ordinary writing into a table. Like just select, bring up the writing tools on an article or like a draft or like a piece of notes or an email, and then you select everything, and then you change the format to a table, and it'll reorganize the information across like a two-dimensional matrix, like columns and rows. Wow. And all that, and organize it. And
yeah, we're really missing out over here in Europe, huh?
Yeah.
Time to move.
Mm-hmm. You have to build a table yourself by hand, like a peasant.
Table peasant.
The notification summaries are pretty good. They have I'd say about a 90% hit rate. Usually it can accurately summarize a big string of text that you get in a row, but occasionally it's missing that one important piece of context and comes up with something totally wrong, and it's kind of hilarious when he gets that. But
doesn't that make it not worth using? I mean, if you can't trust it 100%, then how can you use it how can you rely on it as a tool? It's like if you were using Photoshop, and every once in a while, it would just not save a layer or something. We don't need that layer. That's fine.
Well, when it's wrong, it's so terribly wrong that you immediately know something is up. If you're for example, if you have a group chat where a bunch of people are talking about the plot of a show, and it summarizes them, and it summarizes them as if they are real events that have happened, you can be oh, okay, nobody I know was actually died in a calamity in an airplane crash recently. So that's probably, not something.
I think in this case, in this case, it's actually kind of funny. I've seen some stories about this. But as a general idea, if you're using this to reply an email to your boss or something, and it makes up something about how you've been sleeping with your boss's, husband or something like this, then, and you don't proofread it, because why would you bother proofreading it? You're already too lazy to write an email. Then off you go. You're fired.
Yeah.
Thanks, Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim Apple.
Let's see. In Photos, there's an image cleanup tool that's I would say on par with the intelligent repair tool in Pixelmator or so. So this is a tool where you can edit a picture and you can just circle something and it'll remove it from the image, and it does okay if the thing you're erasing is a small blemish and it doesn't overlap anything important in the image. It'll do whatever you ask it to. So you can take a picture. I have an example in there of a picture that someone took of one of the balloons during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and the balloon is obviously the middle half of the picture, but I circled it and it just filled in with a building, but really poorly.
Okay.
It'll do whatever you ask it to, but
I'm sure it will. But the question is, does it look natural or not?
No. If you zoom in, it looks pretty obviously messed up. But one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't replace faces. If you circle a face, it'll just pixelate whatever the horrific results were underneath.
Oh.
Which can actually be kind of an interesting feature. If you want to post a picture to social media, but one person wants to remain anonymous. I guess if I were to post about this very podcast recording on Mastodon, I could circle Charlie's face and it would pixelate it and keep him anonymous there.
Yeah, that actually.
Fun is interested in this. This reminds me of last time I saw Erfon when we were at the Las Vegas CES. He had an app And
oh yeah,
what it would do
right.
was, what was that app called?
It was called Nudifier.
Yeah, and what it would do.
Oh man,
tell us what it would do.
We had so much fun with that app. I mean, you could use it for unnecessary censorship. So you would you would draw like an area of the image, and it would basically make it look like your appendage had been pixelated over. And we had tons of fun with that app. We were using that app. People were asking us to stop. They're like, please stop using this app, because we were posting the pictures like the Cult of Mac Instagram. Experiments in unnecessary censorship, dude. That app I think is still around. I should download it because it's been far too long.
Those were different days, I think.
Yeah, that might be true. And we had a ton of fun with that app. Now I gotta look. Is Nudifier still in business? Let's just see it. Yeah.
Okay, well, now when you hear an AI-powered app called Nudifier, my mind thought that was something completely different and much worse, which is
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Oh god, that's what you're going to find.
Way more innocent than it sounds. Oh man, I think it's gone. You know, it was a niche app. But boy, was it funny. We had a great time with that app. Yep. I don't see it. That's too bad.
2013 was a different time. I'm going to skip over a few of these.
Okay.
Let's see. Siri now has extensive knowledge about Apple products. They've trained Siri or some sort of language model on the Apple support documentation website. So you can ask it, how do I share a Wi-Fi password? And it'll like instantly pop up like instructions that are, I read over them, very clear, very easy to understand. Really could put me out of a job if we're not careful. But then I asked it how to customize the camera control, and it didn't work at all. It just gave me Google search results.
Yeah.
So it seems like they haven't trained the feature on the iOS 18 version of the iPhone user guide yet. And I was thinking, like, this might actually be a recurring problem, because like Apple updates like their support documentation like the very same day that a new software update is released or a new phone is released or products are out. But it takes a lot of time to train and test these like large language models and this feature especially, I can imagine. So like I think it's going to be a recurring problem where every time there's a software update, it'll be like an extra month or so until Siri's product knowledge is updated. So
it's kind of annoying as well, because that's the time when you really need the help with the new stuff.
Yeah. So I guess it just goes to show that everybody should continue finding their how-tos and guides at cultofmac.com.
There you go. Beautiful.
Please.
Yeah, we'll work that in there. That's important. Yeah, please keep going there. We need all the clicks that we can get. And even if you don't need to go there, just go there anyway. Just stop by, refresh a few times, and then you can leave. A few times each day, just come and refresh.
Click on an ad or two, please.
And then also that, yeah.
Yeah, so there are more features. I think I ran through like the most interesting 5. But if you want to read about the 5 more, you can check out the article or the video. I've been moderately impressed. I feel like it's a good first step. They'll be rolling out like the actually interesting, or at least the most interesting stuff later, which is the allegedly smarter Siri and Image Playground, which is gross,
Dude.
but I'll have to talk about at some point, I guess.
The Siri thing's gonna be is gonna be so important for me. I really hope the dictation gets better. I feel like it's as bad as ever in iOS 18. And
they've said nothing about improving the dictation.
I know. Which
I think that's got to be improved, though. I mean, that's one of the things that like ChatGPT is so good at, no?
I know. It's outrageously good, and you would think that if they're going to be adopting GPTs into their OS, like that would be. I mean, out of all the things they could possibly do with AI, like that's the one marquee feature that everyone would, I would imagine, would think is obvious. It's like, let's make dictation and the phone's ability to understand you so much better. And this is your
because
chance.
It doesn't matter how smart Siri is if Siri can't accurately translate what you're saying in the first place. I guess I will revisit one more feature. There's a new like call transcription and like notes transcription feature that's Apple Intelligence powered, and it works fast, but it doesn't work very accurately. Like I get much better results using Whisper than using the Apple Intelligence live transcription thing. Like Whisper, I think it might be an OpenAI product.
Okay.
But it's their like speech to text thing. I use it like literally every week for making the subtitles for my videos. I export out a Final Cut, then I drag that video into like there's a Mac app like interface for it called Mac Whisper that's great. Like even the smallest Whisper model is so good around punctuation and capitalizing proper nouns. Like it's so good at that.
Wow.
Like if you just pronounce something the right way, like go to settings, accessibility, whatever, and it can just tell from the tone of your voice that, oh, this should be capitalized and this should be punctuated a special way.
Wow.
Whereas
and meanwhile, Siri can't even set a timer.
Yeah.
Yeah. or the example I always use is like I was telling it a sentence with the word has in it. Like he has to go to the store. And it changed has into like Haas, capital Hass, like the avocado. And it's so dumb. It doesn't even understand the context of the words that you're using within your sentence.
What did he have to go to the store for? Was it an avocado?
I mean, yes. He was going to get avocados.
So maybe it was super intelligent.
No, I don't remember. And that example was completely made up. But it had nothing to do with the store at all. Like, there was absolutely no reason why it should think that I'm trying to use the name of an avocado instead of the word has. Absolutely no reason. And it does that kind of stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. You would think they'd be able to dial that stuff out, but we'll see. All right. I think we've got, well, I was going to mention, when it comes to Apple AI, Apple Intelligence, otherwise I'm saying Apple Intelligence. There was a story out this week by an unknown writer with a small audience named Mark Gurman. And this article is actually pretty good. He talked about a bunch of things. When it comes to, I keep calling it Apple AI, Apple Intelligence.
Just do it.
Should I just roll with Apple AI? I'm just going to do it.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right. Apple AI. He says that they have plans to release it October 28th, at least some of the features, in iOS 18.1. And if Mark's saying October 28th, I think it's probably going to land October 28th. So you won't have to wait that much longer to try Apple Intelligence for yourself. Now, there is a rollout schedule. There is a product roadmap. And not all of the Apple Intelligence features are going to be included in this first rollout. I think the ones that maybe you enumerated here in your story, Griffin, like those might be coming. I actually don't know. And Apple has been...
all of those features are going to be in 18.1.
Okay. I guess that's how you got access to them, because you're using the beta. So Apple, even though they positioned this, the Apple AI as a marquee feature, it didn't ship with the phone. We still don't have it. We don't know what features are coming and when. Like, we know we're going to get some on October 28th, according to Gurman, but it seems like they're going to roll out for the rest of the year. And this kind of ties into the point of his article, which was, I'll scroll up to the top here. So for those of you watching, Apple slowly moves away from its annual product release strategy. I'll save you having to read the whole article, although you should. It's pretty good. But essentially what he's saying is Apple just has way too much stuff. They can't keep on these yearly release schedules anymore. And they are slowly moving away from doing these big releases once a year to kind of staggering the releases so that they're happening over the course of the whole year. And there's not going to be like this big dump of products and software all at one time like we have in years past, because there's just no way they can keep up with the cadence because they have so much stuff. I mean, think how many OSs they have now and how many products they have now. And it seems like they're already kind of straining under the weight of what they're trying to accomplish. We didn't get a new Apple Watch Ultra this year. We just got a new color. Now, maybe they were never planning to release a new Apple Watch Ultra, but they did in previous years. They went from Apple Watch Ultra 1 a year later to Apple Watch Ultra 2. And then we went Apple Watch Ultra 2 to Apple Watch Ultra 2 new color, which, by the way, go look at it first if you're thinking about buying it. I thought it looked absolutely beautiful. In the pictures, I went and saw it at the store. Didn't love it. Decided not to buy it. I was super excited to go get myself a new Apple Watch Ultra and decided to stay with the natural titanium. So just throw that in there for good measure. So this may also mean that we get releases for some products on a more regular basis. Like Apple seems to be doing MacBook Pro updates more often than they used to, because they used to do those like once every like 2 years. And it seems like now we are getting them every like 8 to 12 months. So it seems like things are in like this weird state of flux, which in some ways is actually good for us. Like I would prefer that they do a new MacBook Pro once every 10 to 12 months.
I think they're putting their efforts into the big products, the iPhone and the MacBooks. I mean,
and now that they're in control of their own destiny with the Mac because of Apple Silicon, they can release their most important products on the schedule that works best. The MacBook Pro is the iPhone of the Mac lineup. It's the bread and butter. It's the one everybody buys. Right. That should get an update every year.
You would think so. Now that's one product I'm not going to be upgrading every year, but maybe every 2 years or something. So anyway, we'll link to the story in the show notes if you want to check it out. There's some good intelligence in here from my close personal friend, Mark Gurman, who almost came on the show a long time ago. Long time ago. But I think I scared him away.
When he was a scrappy young writer, which he still is.
I think he was.
When he was at 9 to 5 Mac. That's where he used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. God,
we extended our friendly arm across the bridge, and he slapped it away.
He did. He swatted it away. And I haven't spoken to him since. I'm not sure what I did wrong. Mark, forgive me. What have I done? Nothing. I think that Mark is, great writer. I know we joke about him all the time. Where would we be without Mark? But I think the thing that makes him not want to come on the show is that we smile so much. I think that action with his mouth going upwards instead of just like downward like that, I think it might be painful for him, or there's something about it that he seems to have an aversion to. And so he just doesn't want to come on because, like, what if we say something that he finds to be mildly humorous and his face tries to make that shape and he's just like, he's like in pain, And now it's like this weird, awkward.
That's why Tim Cook doesn't do podcasts either. He would feel compelled to convey a human emotion, which, as I said before, CEOs are incapable of.
Have you noticed that when Tim Cook talks, it's a little like a puppet, like the Thunderbirds? It looks like his jaw's moving, but it's not actually joint.
Just goes
it's not
straight
real
up and down. Yeah,
that's an interesting observation. Oh man, yeah, Tim Cook looking natural. Just try to imagine that. I don't know if I've seen it. It reminds me of that meme. Where was he at? Was he at the Oscars or something? There's like a literal meme that you can find of it, where they made a joke about him and the camera cuts to him and the face that he was making was one of the most awkward, painful faces I've seen any human express. It was like he was trying to like make a smiling face, but he just couldn't actually muster that because those muscles had been so unused for so long, right? Like he couldn't reactivate them in that moment. And it's like the same face that he probably gives to leakers that they've captured,
The last time his face smiled was when he opened his first spreadsheet on an Apple II when he was 12 years old.
Oh, the joy! Oh, the unimagined bliss of Tim
I can make my own charts.
Or when Foxconn finally conceded and let him have that 0.00001% or 0.00001 cent of a discount, on that one component that they've been negotiating for like 17 years. All right, look, we'll wrap up with this. We're way out in the weeds. No one even knows where we are. I'm not sure we'll ever find our way back. But I do want to do a follow-up, AirPods 4. So I really need to make a YouTube video about this, which I can't because I don't have an M4 Max MacBook Pro. So I need that machine first. But I'm trying to pull one together for my YouTube channel. But in the meantime, I did an update, basically like a full-on first impressions review of the AirPods 4 and what I thought about them. They're a great product, kind of quirky. The ANC definitely has problems. So following up on that last point, the ANC. So if you will recall from last episode, one of the problems that I had been having with the ANC version of AirPods 4 is this weird fluctuation in volume, right? And we were thinking maybe it's the conversation awareness. Well, I have an update. I churned off all the transparency, everything. Transparency mode off, active noise cancellation off, all the features off. It is still doing it. There are really weird waves of volume increases and decreases where the volume is actually not going up and down. The AirPods themselves are actively raising and lowering their volume. Is this happening to anyone else? Does anyone in the chat have the AirPods 4? Like, it seems to me like it must be a software problem, but it happens all the time. And
there's a setting where they will automatically change the volume for you, depending on what's going on around you. So
yeah, that's the conversation awareness, isn't it?
No, it's different.
Or the
it's
adaptive audio setting.
Yeah, adaptive. Yeah,
adaptive audio is turned off. It's turned off.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to see which of those modes are turned on and off when you press and hold the AirPods volume in Control Center. And I have everything turned off, and it's still happening. It used to only happen when I had conversation awareness turned on or adaptive audio or whatever. Mm-hmm. But all those things are turned off, and it's still happening. And I don't know if it's a software bug or if there's a problem with my actual AirPods, but it's driving me nuts, man. I'll be walking down the road, and all of a sudden the audio ducks like 40%, and it thinks that something's going on, and then there's nothing. And then it cranks it way up, and it makes it even louder than it was, than the volume I was listening to. So, personalized volume, says Caveman from the chat. You're going to love our new personalized volume. You just don't know what volume level it's going to be. I don't know, man. Is that a real feature? I can't tell if you're trying to troll me or you're actually making
Maybe it's like one of the hearing protection features, maybe. I don't know. Are those on the regular AirPods?
Okay, Caveman's saying, no, that's the setting, the personalized volume. Okay. Is that under AirPod settings or is that under sound settings? I don't know. Loudness alert? I don't know. He says, no, that's the setting that can adjust the outside volume. The outside, okay. The volume that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
I like that. It's like when there's the one where the noise cancellation kicks in more. What's that? Adaptive audio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is like transparent until something noisy happens, and it's supposed to kick in. But there's another one where it actually increases and decreases the volume depending on what's around you, and I quite like that. So if you're boiling the kettle for a nice cup of tea, Governor.
Oh yeah.
That's how we speak in England. Then sometimes it will crank it up. I find it happens most often with quick things, like if you turn on the tap to fill up said kettle. Oh. Then it will do it then, or if a car goes past or something like that.
Well, it's interesting that you use that last example because that's exactly the types of scenarios where I feel like it's the most finicky. Is like I'll take my AirPods out, I'm going on a walk or something, and walking on a busy road, and cars pass by, and it seems like maybe that could trigger it. So where in the settings am I looking to adjust that? This is a PSA for everyone listening, by the way. Like I'm sure we're helping someone somewhere. Because it can't just be me that this is happening to, and it's driving me berserk.
Well, assuming they can actually hear us and their AirPods aren't turning this part of the conversation
down.
You never know.
TC doesn't want you to hear this. Charlie's busy. I know you all can't see him because all we have.
Yeah, I'm pulling up my the settings on my phone. I'm gonna have to hook up the iPods to them because you can't look at the settings without.
Okay, well now you've given me something. You've given me hope, and that's more than I had before. Because I'm
not going to look at it now because it might steal my audio from my microphone and ruin this.
That's fine. Let's just go ahead and. Oh, of course. Now that I hit the music, there's our audience increased like 50%. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. Caveman saying there's also loud sound reduction. Okay, I've got some research to do. Settings, AirPods under audio control. There's a switch. Okay, that's where it is. Settings, AirPods under audio control. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The party continues in the Cult Club, where I really need to get that rebooted again. Is there any interesting chatter going on in the Cult Club, Griffin? I'm sure there probably is. Okay, I need to hop in there. And if you want to join us in the Cult Club, you can for a measly $5 a month. If you would just unloosen your grip on that $5 and just let it float up into the air and float over to me and have it go into my pocket.
And also every month after that.
And then also, every month after that, you'll also spend the $5. You can stop if you don't want to do it. You can go to unfork.cultcast.com. But if you want to support us, go to support.cultcast.com, support.cultcast.com, or cultof9to5macrumors.com. The lawyers have not communicated with me in weeks, so I'm taking that to mean that maybe we can stick with that URL. We'll see what happens. If you want to go hang out with Charlie on his new podcast, Charlie, the Apple Core. The Apple Core is where you'll find Charlie.
If you like a podcast where we stay on topic, and don't go off on strange tangents, then come and listen to Apple Call.
Way to throw a dig at us as you promote your own show. That's just really great. And we'll definitely have to have Charlie back on, although after that insult, it might be another 10 years. I'm not sure how I feel about you now, Charlie, but we can talk more about that later. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus-minute Apple conversation. You're going to hear all week long new episodes of the CultCast come out every Tuesday. Thanks to everyone for listening. We'll see you guys next time.